It is an honor today to have Jeff Vanasdal on the podcast. Jeff is a serial entrepreneur, a tech founder, and the creative mind behind multiple AI-powered platforms, including BotMockups, ListBuilder.ai, and HelpDocs.ai. With a strong background in marketing and a passion for building tools that solve real-world problems, Jeff helps e-commerce brands and agencies use AI to drive growth, boost engagement, and scale smarter. His latest venture, BotMockups, allows marketing agencies to create interactive chatbot demos in minutes, helping them close more deals without tech headaches. HelpDocs.ai offers AI-driven customer support that turns FAQ content into instant conversational help. And ListBuilder.ai helps online brands to grow email and SMS lists with little to no ad spend. Jeff brings a unique perspective to leadership, blending innovation, resilience, and a deep commitment to helping others win. Jeff, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. That intro was it was pretty cool hearing all that because day to day I'm just in the grind and it's pretty awesome for those tools I just created essentially for myself. Now it's offering those to other marketing agencies.
Welcome to Catalytic Leadership, the podcast designed to help leaders intentionally grow and thrive. Here is your host, author, and leadership and executive coach, Dr. William Attaway.
Well, let's dive into that. I would love for you to share a little bit of your story with our listeners, particularly around your journey and your development as a leader. How'd you get started?
Well, that's a good question because I remember when I didn't know what a sales funnel was, but I was already building them. And I guess we can go back. This is probably, I guess, 5 years ago. I started shooting pictures at snowblower races, and I would have to set up the booth for Makita Tools and Rockstar Energy. And they set up a booth to display the latest tools, and they always give away a big prize every year for sign up to win snowmobile or side by side or ATV, and then some little prizes like tools, sets, all that. And one thing I realized, a lot of people, I mean, they were giving away swag left and right for no rhyme or reason. Just, oh, hey, here's a sticker, here's a koozie. And I thought it'd be pretty cool to gamify the system and actually try to get more people down to the booth, because oftentimes the booth was outside of the stands a little bit. So what I did was I built this app where it was right when QR codes scanners became native on your iPhone or Android too. And I built this app where it would go to a landing page, someone fill out a form. Sounds pretty standard right now, but that was to win the big prize. Well, I gamified it where the next step was to spin a wheel, and I can control the probability of that wheel and the slices. So say I only brought like 10 hoodies to the event and 200 koozies, 300 stickers. I can control the probability of what it lands on, and also say it landed on the hoodie 10 times. We only have 10 hoodies. Well, it would boot that slice out of the system, which would eliminate people from being like, hey guys, I want a hoodie. And I'm like, hey, oh, sorry, man, we're out. Here's a sticker. It's like, man, I hate that. And then I had the Rockstar Energy models that were on at the races. I gave them all business cards with the QR code on them and set them up in the stands and handed them out. And then people were entered to win. So it increased the amount of emails and SMS we got and foot traffic into the booth. So that was my first, I guess, problem. And it was essentially a sales funnel, and I had no clue what that even was.
And now you're diving all the way in on AI.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Every day is full of AI.
So what drove you that direction?
Well, I've been building chatbots for almost a decade now. This is before AI, so I was using app called MiniChat,
Mhm.
and I really enjoyed that. And one thing I was using MiniChat for is to grow the email and SMS list. I love that strategy because you have a pure metric to go off of. Is like how many
Yeah.
emails and SMS can I get? That's how I was growing the email and SMS list for different companies across the board. One in particular was for a med spa. It was just a $500 gift card giveaway, zero ad spend, like you mentioned earlier, and we ended up getting an additional $20,000 worth of business for in 1 week.
Wow.
Zero ad spend. So that was one of the things. And then when AI rolled out, I was like, wow, there's so much you could do here. And then now it's full AI chatbots across the board. And like this morning, I was just building a new app with no code software to build. Essentially, you're using like, ChatGPT or Claude, but you use that to essentially build an app or a website rather than hard coding everything. That's just so,
That's remarkable.
yeah.
So tell me about BotMockups. This is your newest piece.
Yeah, but that's been in my head for about ever since I started building the chatbots, and how I really broke into that world or my marketing agency full time. This was 2020, right when COVID hit,
Yeah.
and previously I was somehow landed the job with a major manufacturer called Can-Am. They're like Yamaha or Honda. Uh, and I was in charge of the social media, which they had at the time around 4 million followers between
Oh, wow.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It was like a dream job because I got to drive ATVs and side by sides all over the world and all the commercials, and then shoot photography and then run the social media, which I've been riding ATV since I was 8. So it was a dream job.
Yeah, right.
Never thought would ever happen. And then COVID hit, and then they thought the industry was going to go under, so they let a bunch of people go. And I'll bring it back and around here in a second, but I had to figure something out. While I was sitting on the back porch at the time, and I was just scrolling through Instagram. I saw a story with Kevin Harrington, from
Yeah.
one of the OGs.
Yeah.
He was having an event with a guy I knew at the time. Great guy, Nick Long is his name. I was like, I could do something with this. So what I did was I clicked on the ad. The ad went to a landing page that was built in ClickFunnels, and it just had a form to fill out to come to the event. Well, I took all the same questions that were on the form and turned it into a chatbot, but I took it one step further. I made a brand new Instagram account with the event name and then demo behind it. So it looked exactly like their current Instagram account. And then I just sent it over to him and say, hey man, this is what I built. And he calls me. He's like, dude, how do we start working with you? I live in Indiana, I still do. And he lives in California. And it was like on Tuesday at like 6:00 at night. I don't know why, but it came out of my mouth. I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll be out there tomorrow. I was like, what did I just say? So I really didn't have much money at the time, but I had enough money to book a one-way ticket, and that's what I did. I flew out to California the next morning, I think at like 5 a.m., landed in California, Newport Beach, and then figured out they needed a lot more help than just the chatbot stuff. So I introduced them to High Level. They signed up. High Level was actually my first client for High Level. And then I stayed at their office, and when people came in, like their clients, I would talk to them. And Nick and the guys there at the office were like, this guy just flew in like on a whim, and I ended up getting some clients out of that, and then that's what catapulted my agency full time.
Wow, what a story!
It's probably the craziest thing I've ever done in my life, but
and it worked.
Yeah.
And so now you're helping other agencies with the stuff that you have created, first for yours, but now the BotMockups, the HelpDocs. I mean, these are all things that you created for you to use first, right? ListBuilder.ai, like this was stuff you used first.
Yeah. And the idea, to come full circle with that BotMockups thing, one thing I realized is if I did not spend like the 2 or 3 hours building that customized, essentially mock-up or demo for
Yeah.
Kevin Harrington for that event,
Right.
they wouldn't have said, "Oh man, this is awesome." I was like, I can't spend 3 or 4 hours, like 2 to like 5 hours on just a one-off demo. Has to be a better way.
Right.
And then when AI came out, I was like, all right, I'm going all in on this. And that's what stirred up the idea of bot mockups, is be able to create hyper personalized demos in a matter of minutes versus a matter of a few hours, and then be able to send it off to the prospect so they can actually see what it looks like and it functions like in real time.
That's so good. What are some of the things that you have seen as agency owners and business owners have used these products? What are some of the wins that you've seen them experience?
Oh man, so I'll just go bring up one for List Builder. Is this guy got a hold of me through the mini chat experts group, and he has it's called Recycle Firefighter. They make wallets and other products about around recycled fire hose.
Oh,
And
nice.
we ran a giveaway for him, and he ended up building this email and SMS list up to like 40,000 emails in 1 month, and just like 5x his business. So
Whoa.
out there. And then as far as bot mockups go, a lot of agencies are using their VAs to build like just mockups all day and to push them out to the prospects so they can actually sell. The other reason why I made bot mockups to help sell AI, and essentially I put an article out or blog post up about this just 2 days ago, is I was really procrastinating like selling AI because I felt like I didn't have the right tools. Like, oh, only if I had like this tool that would help show clients and help them understand what I'm actually talking about and selling, then it'd be easier to sell my AI chatbot services. And that's after 10 months of development. I now have bought mockups and I have the tools to do that.
Brilliant. Jeff, if you were able to go back and talk to yourself 5 years ago before you started any of this, and you were able to tell yourself one thing based on what you know now, what would you love to go back and tell yourself?
I never thought about that. I would just say keep sticking with it. I mean, that's always been my motto, is like you never know if you don't try.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what my philosophy has always been, is, man, just give it a try. And right now I'm trying not to focus on too many things at once. That's my biggest lesson with bot mockups, is like hyper focus on one thing rather than I got this and this and this. And I've always been like, oh, I'm gonna create a brand for this. Oftentimes I have a brand, a logo, and a website all built before I even have like a strategy or a product to even sell. I just think it's cool, but cool doesn't always pay the bills when you don't know where you're going.
That's true. Good lesson there for so many people listening, I think, because I think we've all fallen into that trap at time or 10.
Yeah.
So, people look at you from the outside, Jeff, and, I've known you for a couple of years now, and watching your journey, I think if somebody's just looking at your highlight reel, they might be thinking, oh man, this guy, he's never really struggled. He's just had this meteoric rise, like up and to the right. He's never had to deal with the challenges that I deal with. Like if somebody's listening and that's what they're thinking, what would you say to them?
I think I would say you're crazy, because it's been a hell of a ride. From man to like, well, going back to, oh yeah, my last real job, I'll tell you this, was at Target, like ringing people up, and I have dreams about bringing people up. That was my last job. I was like 16. So where I'm going with this too, I've had some cool jobs, but also they haven't really paid the bills all that much. And also too, I've been, man, like hustling like crazy. And I remember going to the grocery store and just running around as fast as I can and thinking about business because I had to get back home to keep going, keep building. And I was selling more than I could keep up with. And then that led to marriage issues, 2 failed marriages, and just all kinds of stuff, man. It's definitely been a journey. And speaking of the grocery store, I remember having to put out ramen noodles at the checkout once because I just have the money. So yeah, it's definitely not it's definitely not been easy. But you learn every single time. Man, the guy I am now compared to where I was at years ago. So, yeah, and try to get 1% better every day. Sure, everyone's heard that one.
Absolutely. Well, I think there's no wasted experience either. And I think that everything you say, like you say, it has made you who you are today. And I think, that continual learning posture that you have put yourself in, where you realized I can learn from any experience I'm going through, and I can learn from other people, and I don't have to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, have helped you to become a better version of yourself than you were 5 or 10 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So talking about that learning posture, your business and your team and your clients need you to lead at a higher level today than they did 5 years ago. And that same thing's going to be true 5 and 10 years from now. So how do you stay on top of your game? How do you level up with the new leadership skills that your team and your business and your clients are going to need you to have in the years to come?
I try to set aside at least an hour every day to study. A few masterminds right now. And I think that's where a lot of people forget. They go to school all their growing up and then college, and that seems like that's when a lot of people just drop off and they stop learning, which seems I don't know why you'd ever do that, but I don't know about you, but I think that's kind of like the commonality right now.
It is.
So yeah, studying every day, and then that's always helping me. I remember back to I had to just hurry back home to do all the work. Well, one of the books I read was Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, change everything. I'm in Dan's mastermind now, and just some of the stuff he says is, man, it's really changed the way I have hired and just grown my business in a whole, because you can only do so much by yourself.
That's so true. So thinking about your business as it exists today, what do you want most in your business? What is one thing that if you got this one thing, you'd feel like, hey, this is great. We're on the right track.
I'm kind of living it right now. At the very beginning, where I have my team that can basically handle the day-to-day, projects and client communications. That was a big thing holding me back too, is just having a system to communicate with clients, give them updates, actually not being the bottleneck in the system, where we started using Slack and putting all our clients in Slack, and it's all my team and their team in Slack, and my team can communicate with them rather than being so siloed in emails. And then
that's good.
I'm not getting stuck in day-to-day emails and just being the middleman trying to do all that. Now they communicate directly with the client, and which allows me to do cool things like my girlfriend and I went up to a concert the other day, in the middle of the day, stayed up there after the concert, came back home, and work was still getting done without me having to manage everything, which I'm super thankful for. It's pretty awesome.
Well, that is something that we talk about a lot, is the importance of removing yourself from what I call the center of the spider web, where everything connects to you. If everything is connecting to you, then you are the lid. You are the limit to what that team or that organization can grow to. but removing yourself from that so that you can, go take an afternoon. You can be gone midday and work is still getting done. That's the goal. So many entrepreneurs start a business because they want time freedom or financial freedom or location freedom or all three.
Yeah.
But then what they do is they end up creating a job that traps them at the center of the spider web. It doesn't have to be that way. And I love that you are intentionally designing your business around your life. I think that's very healthy.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'm so blessed to be able to be at that point right now that stuff just gets done. I have an amazing team behind me, and it's allowed me to position myself into the more visionary role. And I do some of the delegation stuff still, but it's just allowed my mind to be more free and to expand the business and actually focus on sales as well.
Well, and it's margin, and creativity lives in margin. So many people say they're not creative. It's because they don't have the margin to be creative. That's where creativity grows.
Yeah.
You have to have that margin. I love that you're doing that.
I think where my head went on there is like, you ever get an email and you're like, man, I don't really want to like reply to that right now. It's like, because you don't have the headspace to even read through the email, and I'll save that for later. Well, if you have a team behind you to like clear that head of yours and just coming down to one simple email, it feels great.
It's a wonderful place. So, as a continual learner who is spending intentional time every day learning and growing and studying, is there a book that's made a really big difference in your journey that you'd recommend to the leaders who are listening?
I would say check out the Buy Back Your Time, because it really focuses on growing your team and then allowing you to do other stuff like sales and position yourself into the role you want. And then right now I'm reading Dan Martell's new book called Software as a Science. And I'm been really, the books I read or digest like within videos and stuff. I just want to be focused on like one subject, like rather than reading through a whole book or studying all these subjects all at once. What's the problem right now that you're trying to solve? And then what are the resources you can use to solve that problem? And software as a science is what I'm focused on right now, because I'm focused on growing BotMockups as a software. I've already seen, I think we're up 56% this week.
That's awesome.
And as you know, like, reading's one thing, but implementing it too, like, slow down. And even the videos I watch, I rewatch it. Like, what do you say? Rewatch it again, take notes, and then the habit I've been doing here lately is when I'm learning something, like, try to teach someone else, and in different media formats. Like, I've been writing blog posts about what I read, and then also connect it to something personal with emotion, so the users can connect to it a little bit more, and it brings in a bit of your personality and your past experience too.
I love that. Jeff, in any business, there are the big wins that we celebrate, and there are the challenges, the obstacles that are in the way. If I had the ability to snap my fingers and solve one problem in your business right now, what would you want that one problem to be?
I would say, even though I have more time, but I guess adding another developer, adding to my team a bit more. And then, of course, getting more clients. That's always nice to have too.
Absolutely. I love that. I asked that question because I think it's again easy for people on the outside to look and say, oh man, Jeff doesn't really have any problems. He didn't really have anything he'd want to solve. And I think it's helpful for people to hear, no, actually there's more to come. Like, I see more ahead than what is behind. And I think that's where you are. I think your days ahead are going to be far more fruitful than what has been. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I'm just learning every day to grow, like, just BotMockups, for example, right now I'm really focused on metrics. So like how many free trials have we got? What's the average churn, and have the tracking those metrics, and just maturing as far as a business owner too. And also just not being all over the place, trying to do everything and starting something and then stopping something, just see it the way through, put people in positions that can actually run it, and then you can go on to the next thing versus doing everything.
Jeff, this has been so incredible, this conversation, because I think you've been so honest and transparent, and about where you've been, about where you are, and about what's ahead. And I know our listeners are going to want to continue to learn from you and learn more about you and what you're doing, and about BotMockups and all the other things we've talked about. What's the best way for them to do that?
So yeah, follow me on Facebook. I'm most active on Facebook, and it's just my name, Jeff Vanasdal. My dad has the same name as me, so I think on Facebook it's Jeff M Vanasdal. You'll see my picture, and then on Instagram as well. So I'm trying to put up more content, actually teaching stuff that I'm learning from some guys like Dan Martell and you, and some of our other friends like Alex and Shunsky, and just putting out content to help others, because that's how I got started too. People ask me, "Oh, did you go to college for this?" I just watch YouTube videos. So that tells you anything.
Well, it's all about the learning posture. It really is. If you're committed to be a learner, then you can learn anywhere from anybody.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to sit in a classroom.
Yeah.
You could watch a YouTube video.
Yep. Just keep I think it's the key is just implementation. Just don't get stuck in the loophole of just learning, or
Exactly.
really implementing anything.
Information alone does not lead truly to transformation.
Nope.
You have to have execution.
Absolutely.
Jeff, we'll have all those links in the show notes. And again, thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Always good chatting with you.